Hey guys, my name is Liv. The technique that I chose is called a prescriptive photo montage. I thought I would just read you this description first, right from the book, to help you understand it a bit more, and then I'll describe it a bit more. But the book describes it, a prescriptive photo montage, as a playful method for meaning making, designed to give a renewed sense of hope and purpose to those with complicated grief. Made in consultation with a grieving client to augment traditional bereavement support, this process entails an interview and photo review, culminating in a brainstorming session where the preferred story is defined. The story either mythologizes the legacy of the deceased or envisions a future in which the client's continuing bond with the deceased becomes a source of empowerment. So it also is described as a healing dreamscape, which can either point out to different parts of the life that the deceased individual, it can like highlight parts of their lives or like qualities. And then also from a more future perspective, like what legacy have they left? And so you can create almost like, you can do it in any way, whether you want to paint it, whether you want to draw it, whether you want to use pictures. Sorry, my cats are running around. You can really have like artistic freedom with this because it's all about the way you want to like conceptualize or create the memory of the deceased person. So the second question was conditions for appropriate use. So this one talks about people who have complicated grief. The book itself, as I was reading it, it actually showed a story about this woman who had lost her son, a Black woman who had lost her Black son because he had been shot. And it was cool because she would talk about different personality traits that her young boy had. Like, for example, she said, like, he was the light of my life. And then in the, photo interview where she brings all the photos and we look at all the photos that are going to go into the montage, they talked about how any picture where she looked at and she felt that light was going to go in one section of the photo book. And that not only was his legacy of what he left behind, but also like going forward, she can remember anytime she flips to that page, her son was a light in her life and he can still be a light in her life. So things like that is what the point of the photo montage book, or photo montage dreamscape, however way you want to put it. Application to practice would probably be a lot of bereaved individuals view their life or view now the life of the deceased through a negative, through a negative filter. The whole point of a photo montage, book, I'm going to keep using book, but it can be whatever. I just did a book. That's going to be my example, my demonstration. So I'm going to say book, but it can be really however you think. Like, you could turn it into a timeline. You could turn it into a slideshow. You could turn it into a presentation. I did a book that I'm going to demonstrate later, but I'm going to keep saying book, but just remember it doesn't have to be book. So this photo montage book helps you now view their life in a hopeful or hope-filled way instead of focusing on maybe the negative aspects of the death or the loss of the death. It shows you maybe what you did experience with them in life and the way that they've touched your life. The whole point of a healing dreamscape or a photo montage is that this is going to be a tangible visualization for how the griever could draw strength or continue a bond with them. And I actually have found, even in my own experience, so this, I guess, applies to practice, because in my own experience, I've found that, maybe with my grandmother who's been deceased, I have a little picture of her pinned on my car right above like a little picture of when I was little, and it's her, and I'm holding this little like chicken feeder, because growing up she had like 50 chickens, and we would always go over and help her, and that's like one of my biggest memories of my grandma. And so I have this picture of her standing next to me, and little like 5-year-old me holding like this like little chicken feeder, and I just have that pinned on the sunroof of my car. And I mean, even though it's not particularly a photo montage, what I'm trying to say is photos have an ability to take you back into a moment, to help fill you with hope, right? If I see my grandma smiling, holding me, chickens all around us, I don't think about the 3 to 5 years of Alzheimer's that we had to endure and that I watched her slowly fade, right? So photos have a really powerful way to connect you back with the deceased and continue that bond, continue the bond of the person that was here, not necessarily dwelling in the death of the person that you once loved. So that is just a small description of what photo montage is. It's a very visual, one thing that it points out in the book is it's a very visual representation. And it's also very personal, because every individual's dreamscape would be different. So let's say me and my brothers all dreamscaped or did a photo montage of my grandma. All of our photo montages are going to be very different and very individualized and very personal, because it integrates your personal relationship and the way you view that person and their impact on you in an artistic way. So that's another thing that's pretty incredible about this, is that it's very personal to you. And with photo montage, another thing they mentioned is it doesn't even have to only be pictures. Like, it can be small items that remind you of them. Like, I'm trying to think of an example. Like when my grandma, we went to the ballet together. I could take a picture, put it down, and then put the 2 little tickets that I saved from the ballet there, and then maybe write a few words about how that made me feel. That also works for a photo montage. It doesn't have to be only photos. It can also be memories or items that remind you of the deceased individual. Anything that, the book describes it as anything that holds a positive connotation from yours and the deceased personal life. That when you pull it up, you will know what this means to you and how it applies to the deceased person. So I was thinking, I'll give you a short demonstration. I did a photo montage of me and my partner. We've been together for just over a year. And I've saved little things for the past year of things that we've done. So I was going to show you, I put together a little bit of a photo montage. It was actually kind of perfect because I've been wanting to do this anyways. And then I have to do a demonstration. So it kind of made me do this. So I'm going to show you some of the pages of, this is horrible. Like, if you were to pretend like my partner was deceased, this was something I could look back on and be right there in the moment, meaningful, and see the light and joy she brought into my life. So let me go grab that 1 second. Okay, so I ended up buying this book, which is kind of funny because now that I think about it, this is from Up, the movie Up. That's a perfect example of a photo montage where he puts like little tiny trinkets or pictures into a book. And when his wife dies, that's a prescriptive photo montage of their life and the joy that she brings. So anyways, let me show you a few of the different ones. Let's see. So I love camping and things, and my partner didn't always love camping, but I took her camping for the first time. And so this is a photo montage of any of the times I've taken her camping. Like you can see here, this is the first fish that she ever caught. And I cried laughing so hard because as she was holding it, it ended up like wiggling, and she dropped it and it hit her face and she was freaking out. This is us reeling in that first fish. This is us on a really fun hike that we went on, and that's us at the Fish Lake National Forest. So this is just like, this reminds me of like a lot of the memories that we had camping and spending together in some of my favorite places. Oh, this is fun. So my partner loves Disney, and we ended up going to Disney. So we had these Crocs that we did a bunch of like little Disney gibbets we put in them. These are our actual wristbands from Disney. This was our hotel card. This was our plane ticket. These were little Disney, we put into a raffle, and she kept her raffle. This is our picture. It says welcome, Nielsen and Smith. Those are our last names. And these are just some pictures of us at Disney. So I would be able to look back at that and remember tangibly that trip, like how fun it was, how incredible it was. I mean, this whole book is full of really fun memories. We ended up having really fun and just like doing it, finishing it, because we loved it. This was one of the first snow days together. Trying to see. Oh, this was Christmas. So we have, and she just wrote little memories down too, anything she remembered. This was for Valentine's Day. She actually saved some of the flowers that I gave her, and she brought them down and put them in here. So this is my version of a photo montage. There are unlimited other ways to do it. But yeah, so that is the therapy technique that I did some research on, and hopefully you enjoyed this technique and it helped.